Let's get something clear right from the start. Kindness on its own won't keep you afloat in this world. If you're under the illusion that simply being a good person guarantees success, you're living in denial. And deep down, you already know it. You felt it. Every time you've watched people trample over your efforts. Every time you've done the right thing and gotten nothing but silence or worse, exploitation in return.
You were raised to believe that doing good would be enough, that integrity and honesty always bring rewards. But reality tells a different story. The world doesn't honor virtue. It honors those who know how to maneuver, to read the game and play it well. That's where Machiavelli enters the picture. He understood something most people still refuse to accept. Human nature is selfish, inconsistent, and ruthless when needed. In The Prince, he made it painfully clear virtue without strategy is weakness. Goodness without intelligence is a setup for failure. Now, ask yourself, how many times have you fallen into that setup? Think about the people you admire, those who've reached great heights. Do you really believe they got there with nothing but pure intentions? No, they succeeded because they knew when to operate in the shadows, when to play roles, when to withhold, and when to strike. They understood that morality isn't a barrier, it's a tool, something to display or conceal as the situation demands. That's the fine line between being a leader and being a pawn. Your problem isn't that you're a good person. Your problem is that you never learned how to protect yourself. You assume that others are following the same moral code you do, but they aren't. This world is full of wolves disguised as friends, opportunists who can sense naivete from miles away. And sadly, you've been an easy target. This is where Machiavelli offers you a different path, what I'd call intelligent kindness. This doesn't mean becoming heartless. It doesn't mean betraying your own values. It means waking up to reality. It means learning to read people, anticipate motives, choose your trust carefully, and keep your defenses sharp. Machiavelli said it clearly, "It is better to be feared than loved, if you cannot be both." So ask yourself, what have you chosen? Most likely, you've chosen to be loved, to be liked, to be seen as gentle and harmless. But has that earned you respect? Has it gained you power? Or has it simply marked you as someone others can exploit without fear of consequence? Let's be clear. I'm not telling you to abandon goodness. I'm telling you to stop being naive. Understand that this world doesn't reward the righteous. It rewards the clever. True virtue isn't blind submission. It's the ability to balance ethics with strategy. Machiavelli emphasized that perception is everything. It's not just about who you are, but how others perceive you. If people see weakness, they'll treat you as weak. If they sense strength, they'll treat you with caution and respect. Think back. How many times have you let people disrespect you just to avoid conflict? How often have you stayed silent to keep the peace, only to realize you lost more by doing so? This isn't about being cruel. It's about being calculated. It's about knowing when to speak, when to stay silent, when to advance, and when to retreat. Kindness is only powerful when backed by strength. Left unchecked, it turns into your greatest vulnerability. Too many good people still believe the world values a pure heart. It doesn't. The world values strength, stability, and the ability to make difficult decisions. Kindness only commands respect when it's coupled with authority. Without power, your kindness is ignored or worse, used against you. Machiavelli would never tell you to be a sheep among wolves, nor would he suggest that morality should make you a slave. True virtue is intelligence. It's not about bowing down. It's about mastering your environment and bending circumstances to work for you. So, how much longer will you let people walk over you? How much longer will you suffer from your own idealism? I'm not telling you to stop being good. I'm telling you to start being strategically good. Learn when to smile and when to bare your teeth. The world won't change its nature for you, but you can learn to operate within its true rules without compromising your core values. Machiavelli didn't write The Prince to turn you into a villain. He wrote it to teach you how to survive. Now ask yourself, are you going to keep pretending that kindness alone is enough? Or are you going to embrace true tactical intelligence? And this brings us to one of the most misunderstood concepts, perception of power. It's not enough to possess strength. You must project it. It's not enough to be intelligent. People must believe you are. In this world, reality matters far less than how others perceive it. Think about it. How many times have you watched someone less competent outrun someone talented? How many manipulators have climbed to the top while honest, hardworking people stayed stuck? That's no accident. People don't follow the good. They follow the one who appears to be in control. The one who knows how to shape their image. The one who radiates authority, even when they don't have all the answers. This is where most fail. They assume that truth will speak for itself. That competence is self-evident. It's not. The world doesn't reward who's right. It rewards those who know how to frame their story. Machiavelli understood this perfectly. It's not only about your true character, but about what others believe your character to be. An insecure leader, no matter how capable, won't inspire trust. A brilliant employee who stays invisible won't get promoted. A high-value man or woman who doesn't project worth won't attract desire. The secret is mastering your own narrative. It's not deception, it's attention management. Direct people's focus to what you want them to notice. In every interaction, people don't see the real you. They see their filtered, emotional interpretation of you. Are you letting that work against you, or are you shaping it to your advantage? If you seem weak, you'll be treated as weak. If you appear indecisive, you'll be overlooked. If you come across as insecure, you'll be forgotten. It's that simple. Perception management separates those who shape their destiny from those whose destiny gets shaped by others. And this takes us into an even darker, but vital arena: control of information. Have you noticed that the most powerful people always seem to know something others don't? They always appear one step ahead. Why? Because they know when to speak and when to remain silent. Naive people see total honesty as a virtue. They think oversharing their thoughts and feelings makes them genuine. But in truth, information is power, and you don't give away power for free. Machiavelli advised rulers to hide their true intentions, not out of dishonesty, but out of survival instinct. In a world obsessed with leverage, revealing too much leaves you exposed. Learn to control your disclosures. Share only what's necessary. Keep some mystery alive. Let people wonder what your next move is. Because the moment you become predictable, when people can read you like a script, you lose any strategic edge you had. The greatest players in history mastered the art of strategic silence as much as they mastered speech. Think of someone influential you admire. Are they someone who shares everything? Or someone who leaves just enough unsaid to keep people intrigued? Too many confuse transparency with strength. They think hiding something equals lying. But this isn't about deception. It's about control. Managing what flows out of you and what stays locked away. How many times have you overshared and regretted it? Trusted the wrong person? Explained yourself to people who didn't even deserve an explanation? Power lies not in speaking more, but in knowing when not to speak at all. Here's the unspoken rule. The quieter person, who explains the least, often commands the most respect. Why? Because silence creates uncertainty. Uncertainty sparks curiosity, and curiosity gives you control. If you always speak your mind, people stop listening. If you're always justifying yourself, people start assuming you have something to prove. But when you choose your words like weapons, deliberate, rare, and sharp, people lean in and listen. This leads to another master skill, the art of unpredictability. Predictable people are easy prey. If others can predict how you'll act, how you'll react, how you'll feel, they can control you. But when you're unpredictable, when people can't anticipate your next move, you become dangerous. And dangerous people get respect. Machiavelli knew this well. A leader who's easy to read is easy to defeat. But a leader who stays elusive, who shifts when necessary, who can't be labeled, that leader stays in power. So here's the choice. Stay an open book, or become a strategist who controls their own image, their information, and their unpredictability. Because kindness without strategy is just a glowing sign that says, "Take advantage of me." The world won't adjust its rules for you. Either you learn the real rules or get crushed by them. If you apply this mindset, if you start controlling perception, mastering your information flow, embracing strategic silence and unpredictability, You'll stop being a victim of the system. You'll become a player in it. And now, here comes one of the most overlooked but devastatingly effective tools: strategic distance. Many think power comes from being everywhere at once, from making themselves hyper-available, from being seen, heard, and noticed at every turn. But the truth? The more available you are, the less you're valued. Scarcity breeds desire. Absence creates impact. Why do certain people command respect just by entering a room, while others, no matter how loud, fade into the background? Because true influence is built on scarcity and timing. Machiavelli warned against becoming too accessible. Not because he advised ignoring people, but because overfamiliarity destroys respect. If you're always there, always giving, always chasing people's approval, you become forgettable. This applies to power, relationships, careers, everything. When you overextend, people take you for granted. When you're too accessible, you become a tool, not a person of value. So ask yourself, how many times have you poured yourself into others, only to be dismissed? How often have you been there for everyone, only to be met with indifference when you needed support? That's not coincidence. That's human psychology. What's rare is treasured. What's common is overlooked. So regulate your presence. Control your availability. Don't always answer right away. Don't always be reachable. Let your absence create space for your value to grow. Most people fear disappearing, thinking it means being forgotten. But here's the uncomfortable truth. If your only way of being remembered is constant presence, you were never valued in the first place. True players don't chase every moment. They choose their moments. They show up when it matters, and when they do, the room shifts. And now, let's address something most people get wrong: emotional control as a source of power. People think control is about aggression, about loud voices and dominance. But real power lies in emotional self-mastery. The person who loses control, who reacts impulsively, gives away power every single time. When you get angry, when you lash out, when you crumble under pressure, who has control? Not you. The person who triggered you. The person who manipulates your emotions manipulates your actions. The one who stays calm, the one who doesn't get pulled off center, that person holds the power. This applies everywhere: conversations, negotiations, relationships. The emotionally centered person always wins. Machiavelli was clear: a wise ruler must act with cold calculation. This isn't about being emotionless. It's about not being ruled by emotion. It's not about reacting like an animal. It's about responding like a strategist. If you can't be provoked, you can't be controlled. And that brings us to one final crucial principle: strategic patience. Most people want quick results. They want respect, power, success right now. But true power doesn't come from rushing in. It comes from waiting for the exact right moment. Look around. The world is full of impulsive people, acting without thought, making rash decisions. But the people who control the game, they wait, they observe, they calculate. Like a hunter stalking prey, they don't shoot at first sight. They wait until the target is perfectly in position. Power doesn't belong to the fastest. It belongs to the smartest. To those who can combine perception, information control, distance, emotional discipline, and patience. Apply this and you'll stop being a piece on the board. You'll start becoming the one moving the pieces. And now, here's the real difference between those who just survive and those who dominate their path: the ability to become an anomaly in the system. Because now, you understand that kindness alone isn't enough. That perception is king. That emotional control is a weapon. That distance increases value. That strategic patience beats reckless speed. But knowing is worthless without action. Most people will nod, agree, and do nothing. If you want different results, you must become someone others didn't expect. Not by being reckless, but by rewriting the script. The world is built to consume those who conform. Stay inside the mold, and you'll get molded into mediocrity. If you want to be remembered, respected, and feared when needed, you'll need to step outside. Be the person who acts when others freeze. Be the one with hidden cards. Be the voice that speaks when it matters, and stays silent when it's wise. You were never weak. You were just untrained. Now you know better, and that's dangerous. Because from this moment on, every time you choose not to apply this, you're consciously choosing to stay invisible, to stay underestimated, to stay forgettable. Or you can start now. Small steps, small adjustments. Hold back from oversharing. Let your silence create gravity. Respond calmly. Step back when needed. Observe before acting. And with time, you'll become someone people can't ignore. Because history doesn't remember those who simply existed. It remembers those who learned how to play. Now, are you ready to start playing? If you made it this far, leave this in the comments. Power lives in silence. Let's see who truly understood the real message here. And if this changed your perspective even slightly, subscribe. Because this is just the beginning. See you in the next one. And remember, don't just be a player in the system. Be the one who rewrites the rules.